Welcome to the Ultimate Mixtape, an interactive podcast on a mission to create an epic playlist. With submissions from your host, creative guests, and superfans along the way. What songs will make the cut? This podcast is about music, friends, and memories. Share your favorite stories on www.theultimatemixtape.com to join in the podcast fun. Here's your host, Jess Manzilla.
What's up, everybody? I'm Jess Manzilla, and with me, as always, I have my partner in crime and life, Jimmy McFadden. In this episode, we are talking to the band Free Friends. And as a trio, Free Friends has evolved from Ben DeHaan's solo project into a full-fledged group. So we're excited to talk to them and hear about the new music that they're releasing, and to talk to them about their upcoming show, June 17th at the Retcher in Maryland. So here is our interview with Free Friends. Welcome, Free Friends. We are excited to have you guys on the podcast. You just released some new music actually under Ben's solo project. And now you guys have kind of evolved into a band. So you're going to have to tell us a little bit about that. And let's start talking about that journey. How did that come to be, and how did you guys all get together?
Do you want to, it's kind of like a really, me and Lauren, we met on Hinge. And then, it was really like the product of a Hinge date gone right. I didn't even actually know Lauren played an instrument for the first 6 months of us dating each other.
Kept it a secret.
She kept it a secret for what, I don't know why, but her mom dropped off a cello one day.
I hadn't played in like 10 plus years. But at that time, Ben had kind of started his solo project under Ben DeHaan. And yeah, like he said, he had no idea I even played. And then COVID kind of happened and quarantine. We just started fiddling around. And it just kind of grew from there.
Yeah, so like for the past couple of years, we've had different drummers and different, different band members. And we finally came to the realization that we wanted it to be just like a solid knit three-piece, because they're just tight bands, Blink, Green Day, Nirvana. Obviously, big sound, low overhead, in my opinion. And then, Gil, do you want to tell your piece? That's actually interesting too. It's
all right. So, it's so random. Okay, so I first heard of like the whole Ben DeHaan thing, or like around TikTok, and pretty much I was like in a somewhat low point in my life, and then I just shot them an email saying like, hey, do you guys need a drummer, just to distract myself from like everything that was going on. And then I was expecting them to like respond within like, I don't know, like a month, 3 months, or like maybe not at all. And then like 10 minutes after, they were like, all right, can you send us videos of you drumming our songs? And I was like, all right, this is really cool. And then like a week after, they were like, all right, you got the gig. So
it's awesome.
Yeah, he just kind of like meshed with us really well, especially like and then we had a show up in Boston, and we just spent like a week together. He stayed with us up here, and I don't know, it just kind of like it kind of worked in the way that that chemistry worked in the past, I guess.
Yeah.
And really that's kind of why. Lauren and I have been thinking about it for a long time now, but it feels more like a band and less like, and I also like I'm not that egotistical to
right.
They're all adding, to it. So yeah, no, it feels more of a formed thought in my opinion.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And you've been releasing like new songs very consistently. The last one that just came out was The Last Flight. Love that song.
Thank you.
And you just dropped it last month. And even from like what I've heard, but what I've seen, it's like described as like really like uplifting, inspirational almost,
really? Okay.
Really feel good. So like, how do you focus on bringing that type of vibe to your music as a band?
That's a really interesting question, because it's I'm almost always like, I remember when I wrote Last Flight, I was in a pretty exhausted kind of place, like dark place actually, like um and I guess I always write from that kind of juxtaposition of like light at the end of the tunnel, kind of like melancholically optimistic. I know that's like in my bio or whatever, but it's true. It's like um it's kind of like just like trying to find the beauty in in a sad painting or something like that. I
Yeah.
don't know. Um, because like I guess like I'm writing about things that like all of us feel, but I don't want to just be like, yeah, and life sucks. I
Right.
want to be like, but also, yeah, I mean, like, you know, we have sad days, but that's if we didn't have sad days, we wouldn't have happy days,
Right.
right?
Absolutely.
And I hope it comes across as like, just like genuine, and like I hope that people can like actually connect to it, because like
Mhm.
that's why I do this. I love writing.
And
Yeah.
that actually was a huge consideration for why we chose or landed on Free Friends as the band name,
Mhm.
because that is a theme fairly consistent with our music, and we want to connect and we want to be a free friend for people, and that
Yep.
might be in a darker state or just need you know to know they're not alone.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, I always tell people like if they reach out on like TikTok or Instagram or whatever, I mean, like feel free to, if you're hit me up like whenever,
Mhm.
like if you need to talk to some. So
Mhm.
yeah, we haven't eloquently found a way to like package that yet, but like I mean
Mhm.
that's kind of always been part of our thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
then, like, as a musician and as a new band coming together, like, who are you identifying with, like, for your sound? Because it's definitely different than like any of the other bands that you've done before.
Hmm.
A lot of like synth heavy sounds in the cello. Love it.
Thank you.
Like that is so
Yeah.
interesting to me. Like it's I think um what is Broken Bones. That's the one where I'm like the cello is like the star of that song. It's so good.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So like what, are you trying to bring through that?
We all have actually somewhat different musical influences. I'm pretty big. Like, I mean, I started out on, grunge and punk when I was
Hmm.
younger, and then obviously Blink is like, I mean, I was a, my screen name I think was Blink Fanatic 7.
Yes.
um, yeah, I mean, I was a 2000s pop punk kid. I love also, the best way that I could describe it without trying to be, I mean, without being trite, and maybe I need to think about it more, is something somewhere between, Blink and Nirvana,
Yeah.
um, because a lot of the stuff that we did with, that we will be releasing with Matt Malpass in the coming months, it's got like this grungy kind of like tone to it, but it's even more pop punk but and it's even also more so like highlighting what you were just talking, like the electronic elements.
Hmm.
It's really cool. I'm like really excited to release the next one.
Nice.
It's also got Nick from Hit the Lights on it, so
Mhm. Yep.
I
Very
love
cool.
that. So like when it comes to songwriting, like what kind of approach do you take that I know you're gonna probably change that a little bit now that you're focused on like this band energy,
mhm.
but like based on what you've worked with before, you've worked with bands
Yep.
and you've gone solo and now you're with a new band. Like who are maybe some of your like writing inspirations? And that could go for any of you. Like
Yeah.
you all work with music.
Yeah. Um, I mean, like for lyrics and stuff. I mean, obviously like Tom Waits. I mean, like I like Dylan. Uh, but honestly, like I try not to get so esoteric anymore.
Mm.
And I'm trying to just say, I'm a big Third Eye Blind fan. Also, I really like the way that he positioned. I probably have somewhat of a similar writing style lyrically. He's a little bit further abstract than I am, but like,
Mm.
um, I like the way that Stephen Jenkins writes. I love the way that Kurt Cobain writes. Uh, but I just want to say things honestly and like not like I'm trying to overcomplicate them to make them
Mm.
sound cool. Honestly, and like in a creative way, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Did you want to? I know you have like people that you probably.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I think of the three of us, I probably have the most, I don't know, strange music taste. Like I listen to like funk and things like that. Like I was a middle school kid listening to Steely Dan. I was a little strange.
Nice.
And so, but Ben really introduced me to the.
Oh yeah, when I was driving you up to the vineyard and you're like, I was like, just put on like Enema of the State, and you're like, I.
Yeah, I kind of Ben introduced me to pop punk. So this is all kind of new to me.
Like,
And
how
I
do you
guess
know?
the just being a cellist too. I never played cello other than in more classical, orchestras or
Mhm.
I was in a wedding trio for several years, so it was
Nice.
always very, very classical music. So I never Ben's had to teach me a lot of how to write cello pieces for our music.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, teach or guide. I don't
She played
know.
properly before,
Um,
yeah.
Right.
And it was definitely a learning process because I was used to reading notes on a page, and here we were just kind of jamming and having to learn how to do. But I think because I was very interested in that funk music and things like that,
Mhm.
it kind of came naturally.
You picked it up like really, really naturally. Like
Mm.
a lot of people struggle with that, but like yeah, we really like just like bounce off of each other.
And
Nice.
I think that's why I'm really excited, and I appreciate that you liked Broken Bones and the cello piece in that. And I'm really excited for the new pieces because I think we're finding newer ways to incorporate the cello that
Yeah.
I'm really excited about. So.
Yeah. Gil, what about you?
For me, well, whenever I write my drum pieces, I don't. I first approach it as kind of like, what comes to mind when I first hear it, or, I'll go through this phase where like I'll spend maybe like an hour just hearing the track over and over,
Mhm.
freestyle on it, and then just hear it back. Maybe this part sounded, maybe too much was going on in the chorus or like in the intro, or maybe
Mhm.
that beat pattern just didn't fit it. And maybe after like 2 or 3 hours, I might have a drum track that I'm proud of. I mean, like I have like influences from like Dave Grohl and Travis Barker,
Nice.
and I like to get their styles, kind of mix it in, and then kind of make something of my own out of it. So
Mhm.
to me, it's like just a mixture of everything,
Yeah.
but also adding like my own spice to it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's really cool. This is questions for each of you. How did you guys originally like get into music? Like, was it as a child, and have you always had a passion for it?
I grew up in a yeah, no, I mean I grew up in a musical family,
Okay.
like not like my mom plays guitar and piano and stuff, but nobody else does, but they're like fans of music, which I think is a prerequisite. It should be to like be an artist.
Yeah.
Um, the best artists are huge fans of other
Mhm.
artists. And so yeah, I never really thought I didn't think to play guitar or anything. They got me a guitar and a skateboard for my 11th birthday, and I think one of my buddies, yeah, he was actually a groomsman, Phil. He got me Enema of the State, and like the combination of those three, I was off to it. Yeah, I mean like
Yeah.
literally like that year, I think like I played my first show like a couple months later, and yeah.
Mhm. What about the rest of you? Go ahead, Gil. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. For me, well, my dad had like a stereo that he brought from Mexico, and then in it there were some like CDs. It's like the ones that kind of like rotate, and you
Yeah.
can just like whichever one. So in there was Michael Jackson, Thriller, and We Will Rock You by Queen. And
Wow.
we had like a family computer in the living room because
Mhm.
I didn't really know how to work the stereo. So I would kind of like try to Google the songs, and I would just have those on repeat, and that was kind of like my entry to like rock or like
Yep.
any type of musical experience.
Yep.
And like Michael Jackson was like the first like musician I ever knew by name. And then one thing led to another, from Queen to like heavier stuff to like like Megadeth, and then Motorhead, and then to the popular like punk rock stuff from like Sum
Yep.
41, and like Blink. Enema of the State was actually like the first like full length album that I heard that kind of
Oh.
like bend my like world to like understanding music, or just just being more creative on the kid in general.
Mhm.
So I mean, I feel like that's something that me and Ben can actually kind of relate on. Like that was it, but it was kind of like an eye opener for everything that I was about to do.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Ben, you mentioned Hit the Lights. Well, how do you think your past, like in pop punk, will relate to the new sound of this new band?
It's really cool, man. Because yeah, I mean, like, we actually, my old band American Diary, we actually, had played with Hit the Lights and stuff, and
Mhm.
all the time lows. How does it relate though? I think Nick agreed. I think he said something along the lines of like, it almost sounds like this first single is like very tell all your friends.
Mhm.
It's got like this dual like kind of like just punchy like kind of vocals.
Mhm.
They're raw but not as raw. It's really just got like it's got like this nostalgic vibe to it, but it is, I mean, like it's modern at the same time, but like
Yep.
the thing that I love about it is like that kind of like that tell all your friends kind of like it pulls me in.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I know you said you have some songs already done and are coming out soon. So, how is the album like coming? Do you expect it to be out later this year or early next year?
So we're probably, I mean, we're hopefully going to be doing a second round with Matt in September
Mhm.
to do maybe three more. Half of it's done. Like the songs are already scheduled to be released. Like we have all the
Nice.
album art and all that stuff, and we're shooting videos right now. Um, Probably the EP will be maybe around the new year. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've learned so much from doing this podcast. Like, as a fan, you don't know the details, but it's like just to release a song, it's crazy what's involved. Like,
Yeah. We
yeah,
finished Last Flight a year ago.
yeah. See, that's wild. That's wild. Yeah, yeah,
It's really like interesting to hear like your guys' perspective on that,
yeah.
because like what Jimmy said, like as fans, that is not something we think about. We're like, yeah, just pop the song on Spotify, and you don't even think about like how people are making money anymore, because people aren't going to record stores and buying albums like they used to,
Yeah.
waiting until midnight trying to get that thing that they wanted. So one thing that I've been like really impressed with you guys is like just the like quality of the production. I know you kind of talked about like some of the producers you've been working with, but um, something I always found interesting is bringing in a different element, and I think the cello is like the
Oh,
star in some of those things.
Yeah,
Like,
it
what
totally
was the
is.
inspiration of bringing that in? Obviously, your lovely wife, but and how does it feel to have that support system in the band?
So like I feel like we actively tried not to be in a band together, even like seriously, even
Yeah.
after like we knew like that she played cello. We were like, no,
We're
it's
like, do
still
we want to
separate.
do
It's still
this?
separate. And like, yeah, I mean, like it just kind of like it solidified, I guess, there's two things that I want to say because you asked a good question, like what the inspiration was, but like it just naturally came together because like that's what it was, I guess. Like you know, when we were out with Sam, he was like, "I'm trying to capture what you guys are," and like, I mean, it just she was a part of it. I mean, we honestly like it's like you know, and then so I've always like you like I absolutely love the cello. I've always wanted to record. You know, I really love that first used album, the self-titled, and you know they have strings all over that, and so I've always been chasing that, and obviously like I mean, you know, more songs than we think about have cello in it, and it's just such a cool instrument to me. I was like, I mean, it definitely is like a major. Probably like the thing that sets us apart.
Yeah.
Like the first at least initial thing. Like people are like the cello. That's all.
Yeah.
You know? It's like Yellow Card with a violin. You know?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
It's awesome. And now that you brought in Gil, and you kind of have like this complete sound, you guys are like, you know, booking shows and being able to actually get out in front of people as this band, Free Friends. Like, what exactly are you looking to gain from, you know, touring and traveling? And I know that you do have a show actually coming up.
Yep.
So how did that come together too?
I mean like I like the friend circle guys. Their music. I mean, it's just very. I think it's kind of like adjacent to us. And they're right up the street. I mean, like they're in Jersey, so I don't know. I mean, that just came together. I set it up with Transcendent Events here in Maryland, but we're actually looking. I mean, we're kind of booking tour dates that we haven't announced yet for fall. So for you know obviously longer stretches, and then building that into you know we have to build it the right way just so we don't because I've been there before where you know everybody burns out. It's not a matter of like energy for me. It's like a matter of like resources for us to be able to still pay rent. You know?
Right.
And I know a lot of bands like you know Keep Flying, like that band is so smart about how they run you know things, and like a lot of modern bands are I don't know just doing it smart like that. The main thing that I think that you can always gain from touring is like you are going to become a tighter unit. Like you can't avoid it. Like I mean, like you can tell if you see a band on the last night of that tour or the first night. You know, I mean, it's totally different things. And you know, like when we did our tour last summer, you experienced that. Like, I mean,
I was gonna say as much as we tried to keep our relationship out of the band or whatnot, like you just said, it's one of the hugest I think assets that we have.
yeah,
Absolutely.
Because, you know, we are a couple. We do live together. We can practice every night. That's no issue. And we just become tighter in that sense. And
but being on the road and being in front of people
is totally different.
It forces you to like just be quick on your feet. You can always tell like a band that's like paid their dues, you know?
Yeah.
Because they just like I mean they get it. Like I mean they've done it. Yeah. And they're together. You can tell. I mean that's what Green Day did. I mean they toured like crazy, and they always like you've read that book, right? What's it called? Oh my God, I'm totally blanking on it. But there's a huge chapter on Green Day, and right before Jawbreaker. But I mean, like they all always said like when this happens, not like if it happens. So, like they kind of just had set out like this is what we're gonna do. So it's kind of like a committing to the. That's I mean, in another like that's where I'm at. Like I quit music for a while. Because I thought like I don't know, I thought like the corporate. I got burnt out in like my early 20s, and I thought that like a normal life or whatever would be easier for me, but it just did not. I just felt very muted. So I came back to it, and at the point that I'm at now, like, you know, it sounds cheesy, but like what else am I gonna do? Like I mean, like, it's life. Like, there's gonna be an end to it. Like, why would I do? Yeah, I mean, like, I want to have, you know, live comfortably and all these
Right.
but like I just don't. I don't see the point of me doing anything else. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like,
I
See,
couldn't
and
imagine.
I love that you mentioned that you did get burnt out because sometimes, people don't talk about that. And
Mhm.
I mean, even in your song Comeback Kid, that's kind of what that song is about,
totally.
right? Like you took that time away, um, focused on yourself, it sounds like. And how important is it to like focus on your own mental health, even as a musician, even though you have tons of people around you?
It's so important. And because it can be really confusing, especially like, you know, when we were first, you know, whatever, moderately successful, um, you know, being of ages between like 16 and 21 are really like kind of Gil. But Gil, you have me. I don't know, man. Or yeah, it's just like different than like if like if like because like it started to happen a little bit like you know at shows and stuff like if somebody acts a certain way now, like I understand a lot more than I did when I was
Right.
17. And I mean, totally exhausted and doing Warp Tour in a van, like
Right.
they outlawed that. I mean, like the last I think 5 years, somebody tried to
Mhm.
tell me that I didn't do Warp Tour because I did it in a van. I was like,
We just work and do a podcast, and I'm tired all the time, so I can't
Right.
imagine traveling, like all of that stuff. Like I would like be burnt out. Like
it's
I
a
totally would.
grind. It
And
is a
it's
grind.
physical too. Like being a drummer, playing musicians, like
Yeah.
that's very physical. So I get it.
That's like the biggest and the number one complaint of drummers is they don't they don't want to move their kit. And I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that right, Gil?
What was that?
The worst part of drums is moving the kit.
Dude, oh my God, I don't even get me started on that, man. Like, oh my, every venue, every show, like we don't have our own. I don't have my own tech yet,
Yeah.
but just moving stuff up and down, just repacking, unpacking. There were times where where I didn't have cases and like space was like limited. I had a I had to like untune my drum kit and then take off the heads. Once we go to the venue, retune, put the heads back on, reset it up.
Ugh.
It's pretty annoying, but it's it's a price we pay
Right.
to make shit happen.
Yeah, you
It's
said you
like
were gonna
it's
do
like
that.
Groundhog Day.
Yeah, unless you're Blink 182,
Yeah.
you're doing it yourself.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were Angels. They were one of the two bands. It was like Angels and Pennywise on when we were on Warped Tour. They got their meals delivered to them, actually
Oh,
by us, because that's kind of how we got on Warped Tours.
got it.
We helped with the catering and that stuff. So
That's
we
funny.
also got to like meet and hang out with some of our heroes and stuff.
Right. Right.
So,
So speaking of like your guys are booking shows now, and you've mentioned some amazing grunge groups that I love. What would your dream, and this is for each of you, what would your dream tour be? Like, who would you want to be on the road with?
We're gonna manifest. So
Yeah.
like put that out
I
there,
was like,
like
that's a good
whatever we can
question.
get.
That's why I thought. I was like, man, I gotta be careful what I say here because we're putting it out in the world and we want it to happen.
I would say like I mean I've always wanted to tour with Blink, but
Yeah.
I would love to tour with Jimmy Eat World. I mean
Yes.
they're like my favorite, probably my favorite band. I mean like
Yep.
Jimmy. So I would say I'll probably think of 1,000 different answers.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, like I mean Jimmy, like yeah, I mean I would love to tour Jimmy Eat World. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
I think I'd agree with that.
I-
Well, so
I know
I would
you
love
would
Jimmy.
say.
What?
Really?
Yeah, no, I think that would be a really good fit.
No. You like Jimmy, but like you wouldn't pick somebody else over them.
Oh, I mean, of course you know what I'm gonna say. So I'm a huge 311 fan. So if I
Yes.
could tour with them, that would
Yep.
be like yeah.
Gil, what about you?
For me, I don't know. I mean, cause like like a lot of the bands that I like, either like half of them are dead or like, and that sounds like kind of like wrong to say, but they kind of are. But like,
Yeah.
Dead or living, I would say Motorhead. Honestly, Motorhead or Blink.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
always like in between those two, Motorhead or Blink.
Nice.
Like without frontman from Motorhead.
Mhm. So are there any, this is for all of you again, are there any bands that you're currently really into? Because what we're going to do on this, at each episode, we ask for like a couple songs to add to our mixtape. So at the end of these 12 episodes, we're going to have like a 25 to 30 song mixtape on Spotify that we're going to put out. So any local, it doesn't even local big bands, any time frame of a song that you each want to add.
I mean, like, I've just been vibing like crazy to, I mean, like, Magnolia Park, of course. I mean, I just think that I mean, they have that like total nostalgic factor done new as well. But I'm really like water parks. Like they've grown on me.
They've been
so
blowing
much.
up.
Like,
Yeah.
And it's been a slow build for me with water parks. Like, it's been a couple years of like getting into them. And I just really like, I think that they're doing something like really like unique. And yeah, they're probably like my favorite new thing that's happened.
And they're under Fueled by Ramen, so they're not hurting too bad.
No, and they have I think Josh Madden is their manager. So
yeah, they're on a pretty big tour right now. Started.
They're like selling it out on their own, right? Like
almost the whole thing is sold out.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's awesome.
What about the other two?
I've been getting into Mama a lot, especially the song Rockstar. Even the music video for that one I love too.
Turnstile too.
I was gonna end Turnstile.
Turnstile.
Yeah.
They're Baltimore based also.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're seeing Blink here in Tampa in July, and they're opening obviously for Blink.
I feel like that's going to be really interesting because like the crowds are different, you know.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how that turns out. I think they're coming through next week. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
We'll be outside the venue.
I still can't believe they're back together. Honestly.
I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
I am beyond excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Gil, what song would you add?
Let's see. There's this band that I haven't really, to me, they aren't like something that I recently discovered, but there's a band called the Subways. They're from the UK, kind of like they're like early 2000s Brit pop punk kind of like I have messaged here. No, the band was the Subways. They're like a Brit like grungiest punk band.
Yep.
So yeah,
cool.
I think my favorite one from like their self-titled album was Oh Yeah. That's like I love the song, but it's really good and I love it.
Cool. Add it to the list, Jess.
Check. Adding it all to the list. Well, we really had a blast talking to you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. Like, this has been so much fun. And like I said, first time talking to 3 people at once. And
sorry about that.
Now we know we could talk to like 10 people if we really needed to. We'll get like a ska band on or something.
Yeah, I mean, if you get like Keep Flying on or something, all of them on.
Right.
So for anybody that's listening that might not be familiar with you guys, like where can they find you? Where can they find your new music? Tell us where your links are and we can post them on our website and on Instagram.
So it's just going to be, everything is at Free Friends Rock. I couldn't do it on the Instagram. I have to wait like 12 days or something because like we were verified and when I switched the name, it was a whole mix up. So I'm dealing with that right now.
Yep.
So it's Free Friends Band on Instagram, Free Friends Rock on everything else, and then just if people wouldn't mind, like following the Spotify as well, because like we did start again from 0 followers.
Yeah, definitely. Like anybody that's listening, go to Spotify, give them a listen. Like, these songs are really fun, and I added them to like some of my summer playlists because I just like how light they are, and like I said before, feel good music. Like, who doesn't want that?
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I appreciate the summer comment.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you
Thanks
guys
so
so
much,
much.
guys.
Thank you.
All right.
We will see you soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, come to Florida. Thank you guys so much for listening. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe everywhere that you get your podcast. And please don't forget to send your favorite songs to our website, theultimatemixtape.com, under the contact section. And while you're at it, please check out our blog. There's a lot of reviews about recent shows we went to, pictures that I've taken. So there's a lot of concerts coming up. So we hope to see you at a show soon.
Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.